There's an old saying, often imitated but never ever duplicated. You can't duplicate me because what you learning today, I forgot about already. I'll come with something new tomorrow.
And the infamous Richard T.
Richard T. Richard T.
Richard T. It's a name that many might not recognize, but his sound, it resonates through decades of music history. One of the most dynamic and talented session pianists of his time, Richard T. collaborated with some of the biggest names in music, from Paul Simon and Aretha Franklin to Grover Washington Jr. and Mariah Carey.
Richard T. is the most unknown superstar I've ever worked with.
I like to call him the unsung hero of the industry, really unsung.
With the tone and touch all his own, Richard T. was a rare kind of musician, one whose sound was instantly recognizable, yet nearly impossible to imitate.
もう本当にワンアンドオンリーだし。
Nobody can do the Richard T. thing.
You know, he set the standard, and he set the standard for not overplaying.
To this day, he's an institution, a musical institution.
You can talk and talk about it, but play something that he's on, and then the music will speak for itself.
To understand T's impact, we must first uncover what made him so special. For most, that was his unmistakable sound and style.
He had a touch on the piano. I mean, you could just tell it was him playing.
There's a sense of time, the rhythm, the sound he could get out of the piano. I could tell if Richard played one chord. I said, oh, Richard's in the house.
A session pianist by trade, T's mastery of the keys crossed a wide range of genres, whether it be soul, classical, or even the blues.
He had such an awareness of styles, but he owned that gospel thing.
So he could play a piano, same acoustic piano. You walk up and play it, looking just like him, trying to sound like him, and you're not. You're not going to sound anything like him.
Richard just had a sound and a way of approaching the piano that was strictly Richard. We called it the T sound.
But what is it about Richard T's playing style that makes him so unique and so difficult to replicate? Well, why not hear it from the man himself?
I try to make myself sound as big as possible, outside of size. Try to sound like an orchestra.
Only 3 long-form interviews with Richard T survive on the internet today. Of those 3, only one took place with Richard in front of a piano.
Like the old grooves.
a young Barry Eastmond has the daunting task of getting one of his musical heroes to break down their style.
So if you're playing the melody, in addition to the chord...
Over the years, anytime anybody talks about Richard T, they said, was that you in the interview? I mean, I just said, wow, this has been like years. This is years later.
It's a rare glimpse into the mentality and personality of a man who usually let his piano do the talking.
This is where I was brought up. When you play something, first time you see it on a paper, you're supposed to play it like you know it, like you've been playing it for 50 years.
It was just a blast to be around him. Just a blast to be around him. And he made me so comfortable. Like, I was nervous at the beginning, but within 5 minutes, the nervousness was gone. And we were just like colleagues sitting and talking about music.
You know, whatever I had to do, I would incorporate it with this hand, but I would never play like chords. It'd be like... That's the way I've always played.
And even if there was a bass player to cover that?
If there's a bass player there, then it's going to be two bass players, my left hand and him.
Nobody else could do a left hand like Richard. And every time I heard a record, and oh, there goes that left hand. It's Richard T.
やっぱりリチャードのと出会ってからピアノはメロディー楽器ではなくて打楽器なのだっていうふうに思いました。そして何より歌うことができる。
Now, testing the piano like that, is that something...
I would ask him a question, and he looks at me, and he says, you already know the answer. I said, yeah, but we're doing an interview. You got to answer the question.
You asked some hard questions.
Why do you think so many recording artists prefer you? What is it that they like about you, you think?
I mean, my personality.
He was the nicest guy, so everybody loved Richard. Like, he came to a session, and he'd light up the room.
He was a big teddy bear, a sweet guy. He brought with him this glow into the room when he played.
He was an amazingly warm guy, so lovable and so personable.
You saw him on the date, you knew it was going to be fun, you knew the music was going to be great, you knew the piano was going to be fantastic.
All I had to do was look over, and there's Richard just with a big smile on his face.
Everything I played with him was a joy.
I see what it is, but what do it do?
Right. We became great friends after that, which was really nice, was that we really became great friends. He actually started recommending me for jingles that he couldn't make. I would get called to come in. Richard can't make it. He wants you to go in. I'm like, wow. So I guess I made an impression on him. But wonderful guy, because he made some impression on me.
For Richard T., piano was truly a lifelong passion.
So I started playing when I was 3 years old. And my mother decided to give me classical lessons when I started at 5.
I think at 7, 8, he had his own church. He was playing organ in his church. And then he was starting a gig at 12. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. And he told his mother this is what he wanted to do for a living. He told her, I want to be a musician. I want to go on the road. And she said, well, you know, it's a lot of work. It's hard. But he said, no, I was going to prove to her I could do it and be successful.
The reason why I'm up here playing piano because my mother taught me how to play. And she gave me classical lessons for a long time. I wrote this tune called Lullaby for my mom. She's She's still around. In fact, she's here checking me out. I love you too, Mom. Don't break my face in front of all these peoples. I love you too, Mom.
You studied classical music.
I took that for about 15 years. 13,
Did that
15
help
years.
you? Did you look forward to that?
That helped me. Well, one thing about classical music, about Bach especially, it taught me all my fingering, all my dexterity. And you have to have that for whatever you need to play. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'd be playing all the fingers like this.
Right.
You have to be able to. That's what classical music will do for me.
Richard's sound and style was a mosaic of many different genres, influenced by his life experiences. Classical and gospel from his early years. R&B and soul from his time working as a house pianist at Motown.
What a woman really means.
And jazz fusion, funk, and disco from living and working in New York City during the 70s.
It's hard to describe my music. I just try to call it good music from the heart, from the soul.
I think that's where he lived. He was a soulful piano player.
While better known for his collaborative work, Richard T. released 5 solo albums, showcasing his versatile songwriting and arranging skills. His debut album, Strokin', is a classic and features his most well-known song of the same name. And the rest of the album does not disappoint. His second album, Natural Ingredients, released a year later, has a warm and sentimental tone.
Let your conscience be your guide. I know that deep down.
The Bottom Line came in 1985, bringing a classic smooth jazz feel. Inside You in 1989 fuses T's gospel heart with smooth jazz, creating an album that's both intimate and electrifying. And his final album, Real Time, released posthumously in 1995. But a solo career wasn't exactly where T's heart truly lay.
I don't know if he really wanted to seek the limelight as far as being a solo artist. I mean, I could be wrong, but from what I saw, he just enjoyed backing up everybody.
They say a musician is only as good as the company they keep. Fortunately, T had some great company.
You mentioned Steve Gadd a lot. I take he's one of your favorite drummers.
He's my favorite musician, period. Now, I always call him my little brother, and we've been together a long time.
We did a lot of work together, and a lot of hanging, and a lot of traveling. And we were family.
T and Gadd were practically inseparable for a significant chunk of their careers, and for good reason. Their musical chemistry was grounded in a mutual understanding of each other's groove.
You could just watch him and learn where the pocket was just by seeing him sway back and forth.
And so many of T's most iconic songs and performances have Steve Gadd on the drums.
When I was in the studio, I said, well, Steve, I want to do A-Train, just you and I. He said, okay, where's the music? I said, you don't need the music. You just watch me. I'll tell you when to come in, and I'll tell you when to stop. I said, okay. And that was it. 2 takes, and it was done.
We shared the love of the groove, and when the stuff was burning, man, we would just smile at each other joyfully. You know what I mean? Because it was so much fun.
Had, signals and little winks of the eye, and they just knew what the other guy was sort of thinking.
I know how much he's loved, and I can only imagine that people were impacted the same way I was.
The same guys would work all day long. Like I had a commercial this morning. It'd be the same guys. They had to leave. I got a commercial. I got something else tonight. I go to the studio, it's the same guys again. So we see each other every day. It's like we live together.
And when you put the same musicians around each other all the time, it's inevitable that they form a band.
We gotta find a name for the group. Ain't that right, Stuffy? And we always, we don't know somebody's name. You say, hey, Stuff. So I said, well, hell, why don't you call the group that? Because it's easy. It's one word. So what's the name of the group? Stuff. Stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stuff.
Under the leadership of bassist Gordon Edwards, several of the most prolific studio musicians in New York teamed up to form an all-star rhythm section.
We'd record at different dates all day, and then we'd go to the club at night and get together and have a real lot of fun musically.
The band's nighttime jam sessions took place at McKell's, a well-known jazz club in New York City. Stuff performed at McKell's at least 3 nights a week from 1974 to 1980.
And the band got tighter and tighter and got closer and closer.
When we got a record deal, I said, yeah, people are really digging this. This is something new.
Stuff recorded 5 albums, releasing one every year from 1976 to 1980. Their self-titled debut album became a certified gold record in the US and certified platinum in Japan. Their second album, creatively named More Stuff, was certified gold and nominated for a Grammy. Live Stuff was the first of 2 live albums, this one recorded in Tokyo. Stuff It came next, a somewhat experimental 4th album. And their final album, Live in New York, recorded live at McKell's, where it all began. Even while Stuff was busy recording an album a year, they were all still high-demand session musicians in the busiest city in the world.
And we were getting hired. Gordon got called, and Van McCoy used the band for a lot of his recordings.
McCoy was a frequent collaborator with Stuff, producing their More Stuff album, providing backing vocals on the Stuff It album, and occasionally joining in on live performances.
I know all of you are fans of Stuff, but listen, I'm an original fan. I go way back with them. I love them. And I'm glad to sing for them tonight, and for you.
When McCoy unexpectedly passed away in 1979, Stuff recorded a song called The Real McCoy for their final album, perhaps as a nod to their late friend and collaborator. Joe Cocker was another singer-songwriter who frequently worked with Stuff to record his albums and back him on tour.
It was new and different. Here's an English rock star. He was able to sort of step into the band and sing his material, and he loved that.
Cocker and Stuff were even brought on as musical guests for Season 2, Episode 3 of Saturday Night Live, with John Belushi joining in on the fun, sporting a Stuff t-shirt and his best Joe Cocker impression. Later in the show, Stuff performs their song Foots with the touching introduction from Belushi himself.
It's my pleasure to listen to this group. They're one of the best bands in America. They backed up everybody from Aretha Franklin to Joe Cocker, myself. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the best out of New York City, Stuff.
Having an instrumental band that swapped around, this guy plays lead guitar, this guy plays rhythm, there's a piano solo, there's 2 drum solos, there's a bass solo. That was, at the time, that was a unique approach.
Singers loved calling Richard to play behind them. And usually they would get him and Steve Gadd and the bass player. They tried to get the rhythm section of Stuff if they could to back them up, because there was such a unique sound with them that you knew it was going to be a special gig if you had all those guys.
T himself collaborated with many major artists, but none perhaps as closely and as frequently as Paul Simon.
Some people say music, that's the ace and the hole. Just your ordinary rhythm and blues, your basic rock and roll. You can't sit on top of the beat, you can't lean on side of the beat, you can't hang from the bottom of the beat, but you gotta admit that the music is here.
I mean, he brought that R&B-ness, let's call it, to the Paul Simon records, Paul Simon, he was basically like a folk pop songwriter, and when Richard played, it brought another element of soul.
So Paul's process when I worked with him was pretty much this. He'd have the song, and maybe he had all the words, maybe not. He'd play guitar, and he'd first go over to Richard T. and just play it alone with Richard playing the Fender Rhodes.
Okay.
Till Richard got his part. But Richard immediately always played the perfect part.
But I would not be convicted by a jury of my peers. Still crazy after all these years.
If you go back and listen to some of those Paul Simon records, and Richard's his signatures all over those songs.
Once in a while, from out of nowhere, when you don't expect it and you're unprepared.
T also frequently hit the road with Simon, performing on the Still Crazy, One Trick Pony, Born at the Right Time, and Rhythm of the Saints tours, as well as the Simon and Garfunkel reunion performance at Central Park in 1981.
50 ways to leave your lover. Just slip out the back, Jack. You make a new plan, Stan. Don't need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me.
After we did Simon and Garfunkel here in the park, I didn't realize how many people it was till
I think they sang a song by themselves. I looked out the other, all I could see was people.
Make new plans, Stan. Don't need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me.
Through Paul Simon, T also became a movie star, playing the character Clarence Franklin in the film One Trick Pony, alongside stuffed bandmates Steve Gadd and Eric Gale, as well as legendary bassist Tony Levin. The film wasn't exactly a commercial success, nor did it launch Richard T into Hollywood stardom, but he does have some funny moments.
Hey, Junior, what time's the first set?
Clarence, come right in. I mean, taking a bath's usually a private moment for me, but I don't mind sharing this time with you.
What time's the first set?
9 o'clock. Well, we leave at about 8:15.
That's it, huh?
I am, after all, a Caucasian.
I understand, and I sympathize.
And Paul Simon was only one of the hundreds of artists T played with.
He was unique because he came in and he always played for the song. You know, it was always about the song. Like, look at Just the Two of Us, that great piano part he plays on Just the Two of Us. I mean, there's a lot of piano players who would have played something much different than that, but that thing became part of the song almost.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
There were piano players with way more facility than Richard, but they couldn't come up with signature parts like that. He came up with signature parts that were part of the song.
Everybody knew Richard. Everybody loved it. Producers loved Richard. That's why he played on so many different records, because he was like a first call musician in New York.
Now I'd like to bring up someone who went out with me on the road on my promotional tour. And he is an incredible, incredible pianist on the Sony label by the name of Richard T.
I just did a recording with Mariah Carey, who's going to be real big on CBS. So it would make her bigger than. I tell you what, you have to hear when you hear her sing, you form your own conclusion. But she can sing. She's young. She's like 20 years old.
Once again, Mariah Carey.
If I could recapture.
He was independent and unique as a person, and that's how he played. And I think the reason he was so busy and he got called all the time was because he was so different and so brilliant.
Cause that's music in the air and lots of loving everywhere. So give me the night. Give me the night.
And these are just a handful of the hundreds of albums and artists Richard T graced over the years. And his escapades even went beyond the borders of the United States. For T and Stuff, the growing success and notoriety in the States led to something quite unexpected, an equally passionate fan base in Japan.
First time we went to Japan, people were waiting at the airport, you know what I mean, with flowers and things like that.
Stuff's first official appearance in Japan was at the Rolling Coconut Revue, a 3-day benefit concert to save the whales, which saw over 15,000 people in attendance.
And we just did our set, you know, the way we would at McKell's. And people were going nuts, screaming and shouting. And we're like, well, I'm glad they like it.
スタッフのような音楽は日本にはなかったですね。日本人自体は、みんなどんな風にこう日本人のことが映ってるのかわかんないんですけど、結構何でも新しいものを受け入れるところがあるんですね。
The Japanese audience is incredible. And they know things that are going on in America before Americans know what's going on.
People couldn't get enough. They found out what hotel we were staying at, and somebody brought instruments into the hotel, and we played another gig in the lobby of the hotel.
Even after the band retired in the early 80s, each individual member saw continued success overseas.
で、特に日本ではやっぱりね、スティーブ・ゲッドとスティーブとリチャードがもう格段にやっぱり人気が高かったっていうふうにやっぱ聞いてるんですね。やっぱりそれを思うと、やっぱりスティーブのリチャードのスタイルっていうのはちょっともう似た人がいなくて、やっぱそこに多分ものすごくみんなが惹かれていったんだというふうに思います。
For a few years, it was pretty huge in Japan for us, and it was that way from the beginning.
Hot there you go.
1, 2, 1,
2, 3. すいません。熱い水割りください。ホットでいこう。サントリーホワイト。今1本に1個ホットグラスプレゼント。
In 2 days, I worked with a lot of different musicians, and I really had a nice time. I had a ball playing with these guys.
T was as sought after in Japan as he was in the States, and his cross-cultural notoriety caught the attention of a few notable Japanese artists, including Sadao Watanabe, the legendary jazz musician.
Sadao already kind of knew everybody, knew me and stuff, you know, knew the guys. And if you can get those guys, get them.
T would lend his piano chops to 4 Sadao Watanabe albums, 2 of which were live concerts at the Budokan in Tokyo, a 14,000-person capacity arena. The first concert in 1980 featured a familiar rhythm section, accompanied by the Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra.
リチャードもその仕事が自分がやった仕事の中で最も誇りに思う仕事らしいです。
T would play at the Budokan again with Sadao 4 years later, this time for a more intimate performance. Around the same time, Japan was undergoing a musical revolution. Inspired by the disco, funk, and soft rock of the West, 2 new genres of music began to gain popularity: city pop and jazz fusion. Consequently, T ended up working with an interesting assortment of Japanese musicians. Jun Fukamachi, an eclectic and experimental jazz fusion composer, is notable in his assembling of some of New York's finest musicians for a live concert and album called Jun Fukamachi and the New York All-Stars, featuring the likes of Richard T., Steve Gadd, Dave Sanborn, and the Brecker Brothers, among others. By all accounts, T loved spending time in Japan, considering it was his home away from home.
認められる喜び、プレイヤーとして。もし僕だったら、そんな国があったら僕その国のことを知りたいと思うし好きになります。
I've been in Japan since 1976, about 35, 40 times.
Told me one time, he said, I don't turn down anything but my collar. I love that line. That was classic. I do everything. I work hard. I said, go ahead. Go ahead, Richard.
His life revolved around playing. So, and I don't remember him, going on long vacations. I mean, when you were playing music with Richard, it was like you were on vacation.
You play like tomorrow may never come. I never say, well, I'll just throw it on there today and tomorrow I don't give it. I can't play like that. I got to play like I'll never get a chance to play again.
In a tribute to keyboard player Richard T., who discovered he had prostate cancer while performing on Paul Simon's Rhythm of the Saints tour in 1991.
Richard played with us about a month before he was really diagnosed, so we knew he was diagnosed with something that didn't look like it was going to be, he was going to live through it.
Well, he got diagnosed on that tour, on that Rhythm of the Saints tour. He had to leave, and then he came back and finished it.
Throughout his 2-year battle with cancer, T refused to let his illness get in the way of his life's passion and work. He would continue to do live shows and recording sessions until the start of 1993.
We heard he was in the hospital and that it was getting close to the end. They had a headset on, they were playing music, and that's the last time I saw Richard, about 2 or 3 days before he actually passed.
Richard T. would pass away on July 21st, 1993, at the age of 49.
He went way too soon, man. It was a drag when he got sick and died.
I loved him. He was my brother, man. You know what I mean? I think about him all the time.
I miss aspiring to play at his level, and there are a lot of great players, but nobody quite has his approach.
After he passed away, I would go back to listen and to the music, and I would really appreciate the playing. But when he started singing, I would cry my eyes out. Even though he wasn't Pavarotti and he wasn't Luther Vandross, but he was Richard T.
T was buried in his home state of New York, his grave outlined with a grand piano and his nickname, Stuffy, engraved in the stone.
My favorite memory of working with Richard is everything we did together. That's how much a part of my life Richard is, or was, and still is in my heart.
I got a lot of things going for myself. I'm real happy that that somebody is able to hear my music. Now, if you after you hear it, you don't like it, well, you can't please everybody. But at least I get a chance for somebody to hear it. Now, I think somebody can hear it. I got a good chance. I think.
There's a couple of guys that I've noticed on piano, and I'm going to mention Don Grolnick. I'm going to mention Oscar Peterson, and I'm going to put Richard T. at the top of that list of guys who, to me, sound like they're playing the piano from the inside out.
Everybody has music, but when you play from here, it puts you in a different category.
More than 3 decades after his passing, T's soulful playing and mastery of the keys has set a standard that countless musicians still strive to emulate today.
自分が思ってるピアノの世界、自分が思ってる以上にそのピアノっていう楽器で表現できるということはリチャードから学びました。
For Shinya Fujita, T's legacy is both an inspiration and a responsibility.
僕がリチャードにインスパイアされたのは、21歳の時だったんですよ。もうワクワクして始めたんですけど。
Shinya's admiration of Richard's work led him to join a stuff tribute band called Stuff Like That, for which he spent years studying Richard's style and technique.
今もすごくリスペクトしてやり続けてるだけなんですけど。
He later founded the TeeHouse Rhodes Piano and Repair Workshop and launched a piano lecture series, teaching aspiring pianists how to capture T's unmistakable groove, although he will be the first to admit that's an imperfect task.
音楽的に一番その深いそのグルーブっていう部分をやってる人は本当に少ない。少なくとも僕は今まで誰もまだ会ったことがないです。
Nobody can do the Richard T thing, without being himself. Shinya comes close.
Chris and Shinya teamed up for a Stuff tribute concert in 2023 and joined forces again in 2025 for a tribute to Richard T tour across Japan. It's a powerful example of how T's legacy continues to cross generations, cultures, and borders, thanks in part to his passionate fans like Mr. Shinya Fujita.
I feel honored that somebody likes my playing enough to say, I want to sound like Richard T.
I keep finding more and more people that sort of do him or try to be him or try to get that thing happening, that Richard T thing.
Everyone admired Richard, and there were guys who really tried to play like him and sound like him.
Every now and then when I'm playing, I do a little Richard where I do the octave left hand, and I think of him and I said, "Oh, Richard's up there smiling right now."
All I can think about right now is like how lucky I was to know Richard T, but even luckier, and I still don't understand it, to have been part of his band. To me, that was like one of the greatest honors I could ever have received.
It was all about the music. It was all about the music sounding right and making it groove. And when it did, no one could be happier.
Not just being a great player, just being this incredible guy, human being that everybody loved being around.
Richard T's gift was more than his music. It was the joy, the soul, and the humanity he brought into every note and every life he touched. For those lucky enough to know him, play with him, or simply listen to him, one thing remains very clear. There will never be another Richard T.
His impact on me was enormous in a lot of different ways, musically and as a friend. And as a brother, I just loved everything he did.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a good night now.